Some say Hell's Angels are scary, but why? All it is a group of motorbikers together trying to pursue their passion for riding through mountainous routes or competing in races and maybe participating in public campaigns, social events, fundraisers, and even parties. So how come it is scary? That sounds absurd, right? But shockingly, things are a bit off here, and they do not work the usual way for Hell's Angels. Let's begin with today's topic and look at the dark side of Hell's Angels. Hell's Angels, a motorbike riding group in North America, is quite popular among the ones who love bikes and races, and well, Hell's Angels undoubtedly grab special attention. The Hell's Angels Motorcycle Club is a worldwide outlaw motorcycle club whose members exclusively ride Harley-Davidson motorcycles. In the US and Canada, the Hell's Angels are incorporated as the Hell's Angels Motorcycle Corporation. Common nicknames for the club are the HA, Red and White, HAMC, and 81. With a membership between 3,000 and 3,600 and 467 chapters in 59 countries, the HAMC is one of the world's largest and most famous motorcycle clubs. First of all, it turns out that members of Hell's Angels are involved in smuggling motorcycle and motorcycle part theft, assault, kidnapping, murder, arson, money laundering, prostitution, insurance fraud, extortion, robbery, theft, and trafficking of stolen goods, bombings, and hundreds of other crimes one cannot dare to imagine committing in a lifetime. So is Hell's Angels even a motorbike riding group? Hell no! Now at least I wouldn't call that. Over the years, hundreds and thousands of members of Hell's Angels, mostly the middle-aged ones riding Harley-Davidson motorcycles, were found to have committed several crimes. And today, we will be revealing these musketeers and bringing to the surface their untold truth. Look at the top 10 most dangerous Hell's Angels criminals in history. Adam Lee Hall. Hall, a man from Peru, was a high-ranking member of the Hell's Angels America. A clever man, in August 2011, weeks before he was scheduled to testify against Hall, 3 Pittsfield residents, including David Glasser, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell, were suddenly reported missing. On further investigation, a fortnight later, when their mutilated bodies were discovered in Beckett, the prosecutors claimed that Hall, David Chalou, and K.S. Vavoy, the 3 of them, were abducted from Frampton's home at Pittsfield and brutally killed on August 28, 2011. Apart from this, several other instances of Hall include theft, robbery, and murder. He was totally charged with 19 offenses from 3 different events. Though Hall was put to the test along with Chalou standing as a trial, defense attorneys have claimed that publicity in Berkshire County would make it difficult to judge these criminals fairly. Paul Merle Eischeid. One of the most prominent names is that of Paul Merle Eischeid. In 2011, Eischeid and his fellow Hell's Angels members, Kevin J. August and Michael Christopher in Mesa, Arizona, murdered Yvonne Garcia, a 44-year-old woman and a mother of 6 children, on October 27, 2001. In 2007, after being caught by the cops, fled from North America after being accused of drug trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping, and murder. After a long time of hiding and fleeing away, he was caught by the U.S. Marshal Service, Interpol, and Diplomatic Security Service in Buenos Aires on February 3, 2011. Almost 4 years later, he was first arrested. After exhausting his legal rights to stay in Argentina, he was sent to the U.S. in July 2018. James Henry McCauley, Jr. James Henry McCauley Jr. was a boss at the methamphetamine trafficking organization in the Western District of New York, and a member and vice president of the infamous motorbike riding group Hell's Angels at Rochester. He is quite famous when it comes to dealing in methamphetamine supplies. All of this started when he, for the very first time, discovered a methamphetamine source in the Monterey, California region. He joined hands with other conspirators and traveled to California numerous times to buy them in pounds and carried them all the way from California to the Rochester region to sell them to other clients by other conspirators at a huge price. Zane Peora Wallace. The heinous crime committed by Zane Peora Wallace is truly one of the most devastating things that can happen on this planet. This monster took the life of Jasmine Wilson, a young mother of 2, on August 2, 2019. She was only 30 years old when she passed away at Wellington Hospital, leaving her children without a mother and her loved ones shattered. This heartless criminal later faced the consequences of his actions. Zane appeared before Justice Francis Cook to be sentenced for several charges, including the brutal murder of Jasmine Wilson. Maurice Boucher. Maurice Boucher from Canada, who once led the Quebec Nomads chapter of the Hells Angels during the Quebec Biker War, which occurred between 1994 and 2002 in Quebec against the rival Rock Machine Bikie Club, is a criminal, a drug dealer, murderer, and outlaw biker, and was arrested in 2002 for killing 2 prison guards in Quebec and tried to overthrow the province's judicial structure, and was given back-to-back 3 life sentences in Canada's only supermax prison at Sainte-Anne-de-Plaine. However, that's not it. He had such severe murder records that he was kept isolated in prison because of many of his assassination attempts. However, when he was diagnosed with throat cancer in June 2022, people had mercy on him and got him treated at the nearest medical hospital, and he passed away on 10th July 2022, thus ending all of his notorious works. Kadir Padir. In 2014, a group of defendants from the outlawed Hells Angels in Berlin, aged between 25 and 38, were found to have been deeply involved in severe criminal activities. On the 14th of January that year, a 26-year-old man named Tahir was reportedly shot 6 times inside a bookmaker shop during a wedding ceremony. This incident occurred because Tahir had previously injured a bouncer with a knife, a soldier stationed in the Alexander Plant's bar in October of the previous year. The attack on Tahir was believed to have been orchestrated by members of the Hells Angels gang in retaliation for the bouncer's injuries. Richard DeVries. Originally known as John Richard Rizzo DeVries and 2 other members, Stephen Allo and Russell Smith, the members of Hells Angels were taken into custody when the US 95, according to Henderson police, when the 6 of the Vagos gang members out of 7 were shot dead by the Hoover Dam and carried to hospital with bruises all over their body. Jonathan Nelson, Santa Rosa, Russell Taylor. Jonathan Nelson, aka John 46 of Santa Rosa, along with Russell Taylor Ott, aka Rusty 69, also of Santa Rosa, and Brian Wayne Went, 45 of Tulare, were found to have killed one of their very own members of Sonoma Hells Angels and have taken part in a conspiracy to commit murder, as said by the Department of Justice. According to some federal prosecutors, Nelson had arranged for Silva's murder with Ott. The deed went down in Fresno on July 15, 2014, when Ott drove Silva there to fight with the Fresno chapter's president, Went to resolve his problems with the club. Upon arrival, Joel Silva was shot in the head by Went, and the next day, Silva's body was cremated at a local crematorium. Nelson was also found using a dangerous weapon in a racketeering assault and using a firearm in connection with a violent crime. FBI agent in June 2022 reported that Jonathan Wilson, Brian Wayne Went, and Russell Taylor Ott were also found guilty in furtherance of racketeering, which also included their membership in the Sonoma County chapter of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, and this went on to last for over 8 years and involved numerous agency partners like California Highway Patrol and Santa Rosa Police Department. However, a guilty verdict was possible due to the heavy resources provided by every agency participating in the investigation. All these reports are released after a 9-week trial before U.S. District Judge Edward M. Chen comes to a particular decision on the kind of punishment these criminals deserve. A mandatory life term imprisonment awaits the accused. The United States Department of Homeland Security has finally taken a strong step and announced Hells Angels as a criminal organization and imposes strict regulations on international members entering the U.S. What do you think of these top 10 most dangerous Hells Angels criminals in history? Comment below and subscribe for more.